Welcome to Economics 101. So you might ask this question: in what ways does decision impact the condition of all? Well, to answer that very question, we have to start at the very bottom. Today, we're going to open our minds about the foundation of our world, aka economics. So, economics is basically a social science where we study the interaction between humans and their strategy to lead an efficient life. But why does it exist? Well, the reason is simple. People have to solve scarcity. Scarcity is the basics of economics, where humans have unlimited needs or desires, but we are faced with limited resources. There are three types of resources. These resources include land, labor, and capital. Without these resources, it will be very hard or near to impossible to produce goods and services. Now, land is pretty self-explanatory. We need land to basically grow our food, for example, as a source of goods. And all the things that grow on land are automatically scarce. Labor, or an easy way to understand the term, human services, is the production of goods and services by humans. There are laborers that are more limited than the others, like doctors, for example, have less people than factory workers. Now, capital is the final term, out of the three terms, which are the things needed, like tools and tech, to produce goods and services. It can also mean the startup cost if you want to start your own business. Now, since resources are limited, not everyone can have the equal amount of resources. This means that there are choices to choose from, and this leads to decisions being made. If a person makes their own decision, the other choice would be the opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is when a potential choice benefit from other benefits are lost because one decision has been made. Example, if a student decides to use his time on doing his homework, his or her opportunity cost would be the alternative activities, which are sleeping, playing video games, playing sports, and etc. Now you might be wondering, how do you solve it? Well, in economics, the answer is very simple. Just make a cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit analysis is basically a chart that shows what you can have from doing one activity, but also what you can have while what you're missing from that activity. Take William, for example. He just got home from a tiring day of water polo training. He just wants to rest, but he also wants to play video games. But he also knows that he has to study for a math test tomorrow. William is so confused on what to do. He just wants to break down and sleep and not care about the world. Well, that's not how it works. In economics, you get to decide what to do by analyzing which activity has the most benefit and the least cost. By then, most likely, you wouldn't even regret your decision. If you do, then there must be something that went wrong. It sounds tiring, but trust me, it's fun. The analysis can take form in a model called the production possibility curve. It is a graph made up of information on the terms that have been mentioned in this video: scarcity, choices, and opportunity cost. The model serves as a way to analyze the two possibilities of how resources should be used and the consequences of each decision. The two axes show the scarce resources. Let's say that our graph shows the limited time of 6 hours. There are two possible activities to do in that span of 6 hours. I can rest, or we can clean the house. Well, my first option will be to clean the house for 4 hours and rest for 2 hours, which I will plot on the production possibility curve. Now, we have our first point: more time to clean and less time to rest. The opportunity cost of this decision is less time to unwind and clear my mind. Hence, on the second occasion, I decide to rest for 4 hours and clean the house for the remaining 2 hours. This leads us to our second point of the graph. Since there's less time to clean the house, the opportunity cost is to clean and tidy up the house. The production possibility curve also has a line that goes in the curve direction. This means that the production of the two goods is different. If the point meets in the curve, that means that it shows the person has used the resource efficiency. If the point is inside the curve, that means that there is something wrong with how the resources is managed. It's not being efficient. For example, the amount of production. If it's outside the curve, that means the amount of resources that is being produced is too much, yet it can be a long-term goal, because economies are always expanding. The PPC is a key factor in determining what should be done by weighing the benefits and loss. So by knowing this, we can determine what is needed by looking at the loss and benefits. So now, you're halfway to thinking like an economist. However, there are still some more points to go through before we can end this course. Every economist must have the ability to answer three simple questions. They are: what to produce, how to produce, and to whom they are producing. Economists answer these questions by making economic systems to be the most efficient economy possible. First of all is the command economy. Under a command economy, the government is in charge of all the factors of production, such as land, the capital, and of course the labor. It is the government officials that determine when, where, and how much is produced at one time. Examples of command economy is the Soviet Union, or as we know it, Russia. So, the government of the Soviet Union at that time was in charge of everything, and I mean everything. This resulted in less competition and a lot of people could not even get rich. That's a problem, isn't it? But the command economy allows a country's government to remain forward-thinking. They can have long-term thinking between their ranks. It's like a teacher telling you at school what to do every single time. Even group works, individual works, everything. It's bad, but it helps you learn. But most of the time, the economies that imply the system fails. Now, after the command economy comes the market economy. Unlike the command economy, the market economy is based on individuals and businesses. They can control their own resources, and they could also control the prices of the products based on supply and demand. The resource that and the consumer preferences scarcity determines which goods are produced and in what quantity. An example of the market economy is the USA, but it can also be the whole of North America. The US allows the government to set prices and let the workers negotiate the amount of salary that will be distributed to them. However, the government will establish the minimum wage. It is because we can't have everything together. Something must be set. That is the government's job only. It's like having your teacher letting you do the group work with your friends, and everything is all up to you. Everything is all up to you. However, the teacher still gives you instructions. You might know what equity is. Well, equity you think is the overall money after you pay off your expenses. But in economics, that's totally different. Equity in economics is defined as how much of the output is equally shared throughout the nation. You might think, isn't being efficient supposed to be involved with equity as well? Well, you guessed wrong. In economics, equity and efficiency are two very different things. Because when a country is being efficient, not everyone can get what the country is having. Therefore, the country must try to be efficient, but also remain equitable for the people. An example will be in a classroom. Say a teacher is explaining to the student about the economics. Then you see that there's one half of the students that actually understand what the teacher is saying, and there's one half that don't. They're still confused. Now, that's the difference between efficiency and equity. The teacher is being efficient by giving everything, every material that there is, by explaining the lectures. However, the students are not being the class is not being equitable because the students are not understanding well, some part, but some still. That means that one part is loss and one part is gain. That's why there needs to be a balance. Now, this balance could take a long time, but that will be in another episode. So you might be wondering, why are we telling you all this? Well, it's to tell you that there is a lot of things that have been contributed to making a decision. The big question we asked at the beginning was, in what way does a decision impact the condition of all? So what one person might say might and or would affect another person, or even a whole society. It is just based on your perspective. In economics, that perspective is vital, so you don't roughly damage another party. We have seen the topics of scarcity, resources, choices, the different economic systems, and how equity is brought into play. These topics make up economics, and it all has to do with one thing: decision making and how it makes an impact. That is what makes economics a very interesting subject to get into. Thanks for watching.